And recording. All right, welcome to UAT Game Studios Milestone Review. It is very close to the end of the semester, and so what we see today should be really well polished. We've got SIP next week, and you guys are going to be showing off your builds at the SIP fair as well. Something new this semester. We're really looking forward to getting you out into the UAT community as a whole. All right, without further ado, we've got 4 projects in development, of course, and we're going to start. Come on up. But first, introduce yourself.
Hello everybody, my name is Alex Watson. I am the project lead for Operation Red Rhino. And oh, we're still frozen. Good. Where is it on here? There it is. Alright. So this is our milestone 4 presentation. So why did it freeze again? I'm gonna do my whole PowerPoint this way. There we go. Alright, so like Lynn was saying, it's kind of all about making sure everything is polished and looking right at this point. So there weren't a lot of new things getting integrated into the game. It was just kind of a lot of cleaning up some of the systems that we already had in there and making it so that we could pass this off on to playtesters, and without any caveats or explanations they could get in and start playing the game. One of the biggest things to do that was getting our UI all up to date. James has been working on that all semester, so we got all of that integrated. That has the new art for the node vote selection, all new menus, pretty much everything from top to bottom has been replaced. So that's really awesome. And then default loadouts, something that we noticed from the playtest, what was that, 4 weeks ago now, was that the way that the game kind of opened up is you would spawn in, you didn't have any of your equipment slots filled out, and a lot of players were just kind of button mashing through that screen, spawning right in, and then they didn't have any weapons. So what Chase went in and did is he built a system that allowed the designers to set default loadouts for each of the roles. That way, if a player doesn't want to screw with any equipment or just kind of glosses over it, they'll load in with a pretty acceptable loadout that we can set almost on the fly. We prototyped a payload game mode, and I have a little GIF of that later, and then just general bug fixes, and I got a whole list of tweaks that Eric put together for us. So that's this list right here. Eric's been working over the past 4 weeks just kind of getting everything balanced, making sure everything is working the way that we expect it to. He's been using the user stories to kind of go in and make sure that each role is being utilized the way that we expect it to be utilized, and then changing the numbers to kind of help that along. So you can see the medic got a lot of stamina reduction. It got a stamina increase, so the medic is weird. It got a stamina increase, the decrease rate went down, and then where is it? The regen rate also went down. So our thing with the medic is he should be able to sprint fast, but for short periods of time. So Eric tweaked the numbers to kind of reflect that. And then he went through and did the same thing. There's a lot of mobility changes this time around. And then nailing down that G3 recoil curve and the AK recoil curve based on feedback that we got from the playtest. So this is our allied soldier progress up here. This is from Darby. Darby's been working on that this semester, and it's getting pretty close to the texturing phase, so I'm excited about that. And then down here is the newest submachine gun that Tristan got all modeled out, and Eric has already been tweaking the recoil curves on that, so that was ready to just kind of plop in, and it's ready to go now. So that was really nice, just having all those all those pieces kind of converge all at the same time. And then down there, that's actually the blueprint that Chase put together for our default loadout stuff. The reason that he did it in a blueprint is so that now the designers don't have to go through any sort of code. They can just go through there and kind of move pins around and set those default loadouts up, and it takes seconds for each one. I don't know why it's playing that sound. That was not playing. That was not playing on my computer when I recorded this GIF. And also, whatever. Anyway, this is our payload. You can see that it's kind of throwing me off right now. You can see that down in the bottom corner there, what we got is if the one team is in the trigger box for the payload, it'll move it forward on a spline. If an enemy team member gets in that trigger box, it'll stop it, and it'll actually push it backwards if it is the wrong team. And then since we build it on a spline, it'll just curve. All we have to do is basically go in there and set points around the map across the path for the payload, and it'll just follow that. So it'll follow it over terrain, it'll follow it around corners, all that type of stuff. And we actually have the system in place right now that we can go in and set it so that if there's 4 allied team members and 3 enemy team members on the payload at the same time, it'll continue to push it forward. And we can tweak that number pretty easily. So that'll be something that Eric will be working on. Probably not this semester, in all honesty. We just wanted to get the game mode kind of working, but that'll be a future thing that we bring up. All right, so I just want to jump in here. I don't really have a ton to show off in the actual build except for the UI and then those default loadouts working. So you can see we got a whole new front end menu. He went through and did all of the options. I don't want to do that. He went through and did all of the options menus and the join lobby, the create game. You'll see. I'm not going to click quit, but so this is actually pretty awesome. Let's see where I want to go here. We'll just go here. This is pretty awesome because a lot of players were getting lost in our menus. They just, especially, we had a play button that then had 2 buttons underneath, and players were confused. They were trying to click the play button, and it was not joining a game, and it was really confusing. So James took all of those documents that we got as like bug reports, and he totally revamped the UI. So here you can see we have our debug code on up there. If I switch between the roles, you'll see it swap between the default loadouts up there. So that's something that we can track, and if through playtesting we find like, oh, people that are picking the medic really like this loadout, like this is the loadout that most people are running with, we can go in there and we can tweak that. It'll take us a couple minutes and it'll be there for the next build. So that's going to be something that's really awesome. And I wish I could show off the node vote screen. We will be running a playtest out there just like we did last time. So please come by because that node vote screen looks awesome. I just can't show it off right now because of the school's kind of wonky administrator privileges, but we really did have a good sprint. So thank you to the team, thank you everybody, and I guess next up.
Morning everyone, my name is Bart Driscoll. I'm the project lead of R&R. Big sprint, we got a lot done. We got a lot of our bigger chunks done, and we're able to put most of the team back onto polish and getting some future stuff done for our shareholders. Stuff that probably won't get done this semester, but stuff that if we continue to work on this, which most of us are, it's stuff to work on. So one of our big goals was to finish our new temple map, get most of the new props in there, get playtesting done, see how it plays, as well as get most of our game mode for capture the flag functions in, and start working on some of the weapons that weren't done prior, and maybe working on some new models for guns. here are two that have started been working on. One is a kind of copper and steel kind of mass manufactured sword for one of the teams, and then a new dagger for the assassin character because we weren't liking the original design for it. So I have the shut for the PowerPoint. Onto the build. So here is our pretty finalized map. We got a lot of our new assets in, lighting done, new pictures. As you can see, this part of the map is a bit more torn up, destroyed, ransacked, if you could say. And then you go outside here, you can see more of the garden, a lot more trees, trellises, shrubbery, plants, stuff like that. Kind of a calming scene. It's not really destroyed at all, unlike the first base. And if you run over here to the other base, you can see the difference of it's a bit more put together, it's not destroyed, looks a bit more lived in. And then in the underground you can see why this temple was built here in the first place. It's because this sort of crystal mine was found underneath it, and these crystals are meant to be like good for magic, whatever purposes the more magic team would want them for. And we kind of want to light this area up with a blue light from the torches and just the blue crystals that are around. But besides that, gameplay has been going good. We've fixed a lot of bugs. The programming team has been working very hard on that. And that is all we have for this sprint. And it'll close eventually.
Not responding. There we go. All right. Good morning, guys. My name is Austin Harrington, lead designer for Monster Vault Entertainment and creator of Call Center Simulator. We had a great sprint, and so I want to take you through some of the progress that we've made. To start, we've been revising our sandbox environment. Again, this is an MMO, so there's a very large space. I showed last sprint we had built out a demo environment for the purpose of trailers that was far more in line with what modern offices look like, and so we wanted to go back and retrofit our sandbox using the existing gameplay spaces that we had already kind of tested and we knew was good, or were good, but to just kind of build it out. And so we've got offices on the side now that you can kind of look into with a bunch of assets in them. We've kind of been building out conference rooms. We've got bathrooms and which I guess I don't have screenshots of, or break rooms, which is pretty cool. With more assets, we've been able to get kind of more diverse desks, which is a lot of fun. Everything is interactive, and so we have to do a little more work to make sure all of these assets do what we want them to do. It does require 2 languages to interact with each one of these assets, so it's been an interesting process for us. Moving on to art, I'm really happy with my art team this sprint. They've done a lot of work. So we have our suplex fire alarm. We've got wine bottles for the wino lady in the office, boxes for binders. As I said, we're working on a break room now, and so we're starting to work on some of those assets. We have a refrigerator that will have, 3-week-old food that'll have, say, Linda's Don't Touch, that kind of thing. Stuff you'll see in an office. We've got a dartboard that will be fully playable. We also have darts I showed last time. Our Whiskey to Success brand whiskey. Lamps. One of the things that I've talked about before is we're really interested in branding. We think that one of the most compelling things about, say, Grand Theft Auto is that they have all these funny brands. And so we've kind of been spitballing ideas, and these are 2 that we decided on for our soda brands. We have Tongue Punch and Soda with 100% more diabetes. What else? Some bathroom assets. So you can see this is modular stalls, so that we as designers have some little wiggle room with how we design those environments. We've got a hand dryer which will function. Yes, there's more art. So I showed these mugs last sprint. However, we did change them, and I wanted to show the assets because we put time into them. The expo markers are kind of interesting. So we've gotten to a point now where we're prototyping some of the interactive features that we're putting into the game. And one of those is whiteboards. We have whiteboards all over the environment. It's a multiplayer game. You'll be able to draw or write on the whiteboards as you want. You'll be able to erase. Other people will be able to see it and interact with it as well. And so we've got our markers, and we've started prototyping that, which I'll talk about in just a minute. So in terms of programming, one of the problems that we've had this semester with some of our technology is that we haven't been able to use the source control system that we built for this game. And that means that build consolidation is hard. And so that's one of the things that we've been working on this sprint, is getting all of these various builds that designers and programmers have been working on integrated into one build. And so we've made a lot of progress there. We are almost there with everything, but we're feeling good. Global movement has come pretty far. I'll play a video of that in just a minute. Spatial OS, our online system, has been difficult to work with over the course of the last 2 semesters, but they've been making all of these really great updates, not just version updates, but tiny little things, changing the specific syntax of certain code and that kind of thing, and also documenting it. And so we're now going back to their documentation and talking with the company itself to optimize our code. And they've had some really great ideas for us, and so we are excited to continue to work with them. We've been debugging our gun, again, prototyping the whiteboard, and we've started doing research on matchmaking. So I've talked about it before. This is an MMO with a matchmaking element. Think Battlegrounds in WoW. It'll be focused shooter matches within the sandbox mode. And so we have to find a way to do that. And so we're looking at Unity matchmaking right now and seeing if we can incorporate it into Spatial OS, which we're feeling like we can do. So hopefully we can talk more about that later this semester or next semester during our SIP presentations. This is a video showing off some of the progress on our global movement system. So we've gotten to a point now where the movement spaces work. For those that aren't fully aware of how this system works, essentially there are movement spaces that you can move to that are attached to cover. We wanted persistency of movement, and we wanted something that wasn't going to make people sick. So teleportation seems to be the best way to limit nausea in VR. We wanted to do something with that, but we wanted persistent movement because we don't want people teleporting from, out of the way of Nerf darts or our soda can grenades or anything like that. So we needed persistency. So as you can see, when you select a space, right now it's a placeholder character model, but it will move to the next position before you teleport. This is vital when you're making an online game. The next steps here, we are working on figuring out pathing right now for that system. We're hoping we can have that done before the end of the semester. We're using some form of Unity's AI system to deal with that, and so we're feeling confident about that. We've got 3 programmers on that right now. The build, this will be interesting. Network error, that's a good start. That's a good start too. Really, guys? I'm going to give this 5 more seconds before I assume that this isn't going to happen. Okay, never mind on the build. That is frustrating. So we, because of technology issues, had some problems this semester for the first 11 weeks where we couldn't access our game. So we are going to be grinding for the next 2 weeks to have a really successful Sprint 5. So we don't have a build.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, have a great day, and thank you.
No, Austin, don't shoot yourself. Yeah, it's not ready. Okay. Wow, everybody took a big step forward. Roger is not here yet. He's still working on the build, so when he comes in, we'll get that recorded as well. We'll make a second attempt on Call Center Simulator. It's a little early for that name. All right, give him a round of applause, everybody. Nice work this sprint. All right, the other thing that you're going to be doing is your sprint planning. For this final sprint, we should see a lot of polish and bug fixing to make sure that you get a really strong final build. Everybody has done a tremendous job on these games as you're finishing up. Several of you may be coming back for another semester just to make sure that you are shipped we definitely want to support you in that. Hugh, you want to talk briefly about the session for E-Line, when you guys are going to take off?
Yeah, so those of a couple of people have already been notified that they're going to be a part of it. E-Line isn't going to be coming here today. They wanted us to go to their place instead. They changed that at the last minute. So at around 2 o'clock, everyone has been notified already. We'll meet up. Just look for me or George. George is going to be driving the van. We'll head over to E-Line, do that testing, come back. We really wanted them to come here, but they changed their minds and wanted us to go over there. So we're going to fall through what they wanted. And that's it. It's at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, great. So hopefully you can get some footage, something to share along those lines. And
See what we can.
yeah, fantastic. All right, so we're not going to hold you. We're going to let you go make sure that you get your videos recorded and your sprint planning done. Leads, please be on time. We've got a lot to cover today in the leads meeting. And discipline meetings, make sure that you are letting us know if you need any help at all, because we are not hosting those today on the sprint planning day. So just as needed, make sure you're getting on my LSC list if you need any help. All right, go make games. All right.
I was wondering what times are going to be here, since it's a weird day, since everyone in Founders has to meet 1 to 3:30 for the meeting.
Get on my list and let me know that you're going to be available at 3:30. And yeah,
Or
just
like
as
I'll
soon as
be
you can.
available before then too, but like I'm still researching on how to like I can unwrap the head good, it's just the other parts of the body aren't responding to the poly group unwrapping.
Okay.
It's awkward, but